Yeah, I was talking to you, Chairman.
Okay, can you get my paper? I'll get Carl in this right pocket.
This
Not-
one here?
Nope,
No, in his backpack.
nope,
No.
in the wheelchair.
Wheelchair.
Sorry. I'm sorry,
That's all right.
didn't stop. I'm not prepared, but
You're prepared. You want this paper?
yeah, it says the city Bismarck on it. Yep, exactly.
Like that?
Yep, and just put it on my lap there and then turn the pages for me.
Can do.
I will call this meeting to order, April 18, 2022 at 5:15. The mission of the Bismarck Human Relations Committee, turn the page.
Yep.
I think that's the wrong page.
All right, purpose.
The purpose of the Bismarck Human Relations Committee is to advocate of inclusion, equality, and outreach, and recognize the value of a diverse community. Okay, the next item is approval of minutes. Can I get approval?
So vote to approve.
Motion by Darcy,
I'll second.
second by Sardana. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion's carried. Public comment, any public comment? Any on Teams, Jason?
Nope, just Jason Granick is on Teams.
Okay. Okay, review anti-hate crime ordinance, who is doing that, Jason?
Well, I've got a copy here, and there was a copy included with your agenda packet. Jason Grenick had brought this up at the last meeting, just under other business as an awareness for the group. And I believe, Jason, have you been working with Commissioner Guy?
I have, yes. I actually had something on this tonight. That's why I wanted to make sure I could hop on. So we feel we have drafted something working with Janelle, the city attorney. And we are actually going to be moving forward. Jason, I don't know if Commissioner Guy got a hold of you.
She did, May 12th, I believe. Was that the first meeting?
May 10th.
May 10th, okay.
Yep, May 10th is when it's going on the agenda, and they asked if hold on, let me pull up. I have so many things here. So the HRC already voted to support this at our last meeting, and then they asked if the Human Relations Committee can make a statement on the introduction on the consent agenda on the 10th.
Is that a question for me?
Yes.
The answer is
Are we
yes.
able to do that?
Absolutely. So the question is relating to public comment at the May 10th City Commission meeting. All City Commission meetings have a public comment opportunity. It's at the very beginning of the meeting, much like this group's. And I guess the general rule is the public can comment on any item that's on the agenda that is not otherwise scheduled for a public hearing. So in this case, the draft language for the hate crime ordinance will appear on the consent agenda, which is really the front half of the entire city commission agenda. We have the consent agenda, and then we have the regular agenda. Regular agenda is where we have all the public hearings and item by item business. The consent agenda is a compilation of a lot of decisions a lot of requests and decisions that get made all at once. In order for an ordinance to be approved, it has to first appear on the consent agenda, and the action and the recommendation is to call for to schedule and call for a public hearing. That typically is the next city commission meeting, which would be 2 weeks after May 10th. So then we'd be looking at May 24th for the public hearing. That would be the time when anybody can comment during the public hearing. But to shorten my answer, yes, the HRC or anyone can show up to the meeting on May 10th and speak in support or against the draft language that is compiled and proposed for the hate ordinance. And so
Okay,
go ahead.
go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Jason.
I was just gonna say, I think you're on the phone, so you can't see it, but what we have in front of us here, Jason, is the ordinance as it was drafted by the city of Grand Forks. And this has been used as a model for Commissioner Guy and City Attorney Janelle Combs to create language that is appropriate for the city of Bismarck to adopt in its ordinance.
And what does Grand Forks have with theirs?
Let's have a third.
This is all in here. It was included in your agenda packet as well. It basically causes this to be, it identifies what a hate crime is. It identifies it as simple assault. It says it is unlawful for any person to willfully cause bodily injury to another human, being in whole or in part, because of the actual or perceived race, color, religion, gender, disability, veteran status, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, or ancestry of the victim. And then it goes on to say, willfully tampers with the tangible property of another person so as to endanger the property or to willfully damage tangible property. In other words, if you vandalize something and it falls into these categories, it would be in Grand Forks, it would be deemed criminal mischief, which is
So is that like a protest when I think of like the Dapple, when they start vandalizing the equipment?
Not necessarily. This would be a specific action that was targeted against somebody that has been identified as disabled, veteran, sexual orientation, gender identity. It would be if if somebody were to say spray paint all sorts of nasty things on the front of somebody's house or their store, that would be considered criminal
And-
mischief.
And I see this a lot, even on buildings and stuff. I think it's a good ordinance. I'm glad Commissioner Guy is helping move forward.
The burden of proof becomes then on can't just say, well, this building has negative things spray painted on it. It's a hate crime. Well, like any crime, you have to be able to identify the victim and the alleged perpetrator of the crime. And so it's no different than any other crime. Without witnesses or evidence, there's not a lot to really stand on. But at the same time, when if these things were to occur, this would then enable the opportunity to prosecute those people appropriately.
Right now, there's nothing on the books.
Correct. Yeah,
And
so if a particular individual was targeted with racial slurs, it would be basically vandalism at this point, because if they spray painted on the front of the building and that's all it was, that's the most that anybody could be charged with here. Now, if you have an ordinance that specifically addresses minorities or well, in this case, it's all sorts of different things. If you can connect those two things together, it goes from vandalism to a hate crime. And then it's got a whole different process and a whole different set of ramifications that would be much different than just simply vandalism.
Have you ever thought about working like with the police department?
Oh, they would be a big part of this because they would come down for the enforcement side of it. Yeah. Yeah, the PD they would be aware of this draft language. They would review it. They would have to provide any feedback if they say, that's not going to work. We're going to have to change the wording to make it be this way. Yes, the police department would be very much involved with this as well.
Because
And can I just jump in?
I'm sure they'll have an opinion once they find out about it.
Go ahead, Jason.
So the police department is already involved and already has approved their backing of this, as well as the city attorney's office, as well as the indigenous communities, people, working with those with disabilities. There've been shareholders from all these different underrepresented or different groups that have been working with Commissioner Guy and myself and Zayden from the state, the North Dakota HRC. And so at this point, what they're asking is that, we just stand up and we already voted and approved that the HRC, our group, supports this. And they just would like us to state that as a citizen group for the city of Bismarck. at the May 10th meeting. There is one difference between ours draft and Grand Forks, and that's they did pull the veteran status out of there. And that's because we've found, and Janelle, the city attorney, says federally veterans are protected as a class. And so we as a city don't even need to do that. Unfortunately, federally, there aren't protections for a lot of other groups within this. And so we felt at this point, we would follow Fargo, where it just had all the other groups except veterans.
Or do you think Grand Forks?
No, Fargo.
No, Fargo has.
Fargo has one too.
Fargo has one too.
Oh. Okay, I would think we could put a letter together for that. We have someone stating.
Well, knowing that the May 10th meeting is going to occur before this group meets again, because your next meeting is May 16th. I think it would be best, just to avoid any confusion, if there are members here that are intending to speak during public comment at May 10th, maybe just sort that out now. We don't have a problem if 5 of you end up in the room together. We'll notice it as a special meeting, but if we know that there are 5, then we'll get it ahead of time. If there's some of you that aren't available or aren't interested in sharing your comments, that's totally fine. But I think it, just to avoid any potential open meeting violations, if some of you are planning to go on the 10th, if you could let me know now, we'll do a special meeting notice if we have to. If there's 4 of you or less, that's totally fine. 4 of you can get together without causing a quorum, and it won't have any negative impacts on anything.
Is it 5:15?
5:15, and the public comment is almost immediately. So we'll start with invocation and pledge of allegiance, and then we typically jump straight to public comment. So
Yep, and I was hoping to be there if the group would be okay with that.
I'll be there.
I'll be there as well.
Perfect.
In that case, I'll stay away,
that's 3. So
just
that's,
to make sure we don't have.
we have no issues with 3. And then knowing the sequence of things and knowing expecting what we would think should happen, then the public hearing would be May 24th. That will be after your May meeting as a group, and you guys can decide then who goes to the May 24th meeting. Maybe it's a collective statement that's crafted here at the table, and one person says it on behalf of the entire committee, whatever you feel comfortable with at that point. Or if you all want to get up and individually support it, you can certainly do that. One thing I would caution, if all 9 of you say the exact same thing, it's going to get to be a little overwhelming. Maybe a collective statement, or if each of you have something different to offer, that would be totally appropriate. But to get up and say, I agree with what she said, it kind of loses.
It's like a
impact.
copycat.
Yeah, anytime you can offer new information or a new perspective or just a new way of saying something, that's better than saying, yeah, I agree with what the last 4 people just said.
At our next meeting, can we then just kind of discuss what we want to say as a group?
Absolutely.
Instead?
Yep, we can put it on the agenda and have a discussion and then craft a statement.
Jason, can I ask a question? This is Tia.
Mhm.
Are you, the folks working on this, are you guys anticipating much pushback, or are you kind of like?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, what we're doing is we're hoping that we'll be able to get this through on the momentum of Fargo passing it last year, Grand Forks just passing it a couple months ago, and it just being the right time to just continue moving forward within our city. We're hoping to build coalitions over the next few weeks with people within the community who are willing to do public, comment on the 24th when it's opening up. So anybody, you can refer people to me, or if any of you or your organizations would like to state something on behalf of this. I know that I'm on the Embracing Diversity Committee up at the Bismarck State College, and there's a bunch of different organizations up there that are a part of it that are all excited for this. The National Guard rep actually said they'd be willing to make a statement. And so there's a lot of momentum already building. The business community has been waiting for something like this to continue growing our city as being a welcoming and good place to come and settle down and work and raise a family, and that it's safe for everybody, you know?
Yeah, my only thought process, and this is, and I understand like removing the veteran status, but just one thing to keep in mind is people in Bismarck rarely vote against veterans. So it could possibly be a benefit to keep it in there. Does that make sense? Like,
It
I
does.
understand
I
that-
just don't know legally if we're able to. Yeah, I'd have to talk with Janelle, the city attorney, and see why they removed it. Nationally, out of the entire United States, every single city and state that has it, Grand Forks is the only city within the entire country that put veterans into it.
okay,
Every
I
other
was
hate
just
crime
thinking
ordinance
that-
across the country doesn't address veterans because federally veterans are protected against hate crimes or discrimination.
yeah, and that makes sense. I just, you read a lot about like, why are we doing this when we have so many homeless veterans or so. So I was just thinking it could be a potential benefit, but I understand what you're saying as well.
Just to follow up really quick, that it's not finalized, and so I definitely will be bringing that to them, just so you know, okay?
Yeah, and like I'm not like, I'm just kind of thinking of it as a potential plus if someone saw that in there in our community.
Well, perfect. Since I can't see anything, if someone could let me know who wants to come with next week, just reach out to me afterwards, or Jason, if you could send me an email or give them my contact information, and that way I can see if they want to stop into one of the planning committees too or something.
Sargiana and Tia both said they will be there on May 10th. So,
Okay,
so it would be the three of you, and then we're
okay.
no problems there. And
That was all I had on that. I appreciate it, everyone.
just for those in the room that, Jason, we do have the ordinance up as it was written by Grand Forks. We use this as a model. Our ordinance have their own structure and format and style to them. So we do this a lot when we write new ordinances. We look around at other like-sized cities within the region, and sometimes we R&D, we rip off and duplicate. There's no sense in recreating the wheel. I'm not going to tell you that we're going to take this language verbatim, and we will, however it's taken, we will format it to fit within our ordinance. So if it physically looks a little different than this, don't get too worried about that. It's the content that's included, the language within the ordinance that matters. So tomorrow, to get onto the May 10th agenda, then the draft will be to us on May 2nd or 3rd, whatever that Tuesday, it may be May 4th, I think is Tuesday. The agenda will be posted the Wednesday prior to the May 10th meeting. So let me just look and get my calendar out here. So the Wednesday prior to May 10th is going to be May 4th. If it would be helpful, we could send a link to the city commission agenda to each of you, so you could see the way the language is drafted, and then know that it could change between the draft and the final adoption, but likely never does. So that would be something that would come up at the commission table. So if it's helpful, I can put a note in here to send each of you a link to the city commission agenda for May 10th. I would send that to you either May 4th or Thursday, May 5th, and you have it so you know what it looks like and where it's going to go from there. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
good. I will do that.
The HRC 2020th anniversary.
So the 20th anniversary of the Human Relations Committee, I think this was brought to our attention during the annual report that Sargiana had noted that I believe it was in October of 2002, the ordinance was approved, adopted to create the Human Relations Committee. We added this to the agenda more for your awareness, but if one of your goals is to build recognition, what better way than to celebrate by saying, hey, we've been here 20 years and here's some of the things that we've done. Now, who is your audience? I don't know. I guess you guys get to worry about that, but I just thought it would be something that this group would find interesting and maybe give you another opportunity to trumpet some of your projects, some of the members, some of the impacts that you've had in this community as a group. So it was really meant to be here to generate discussion and then for us as staff to take guidance to, if there's something that you guys would like to do to help recognize the 20th anniversary in October.
Could Dakota Media Access do like a video, 20 years of human relations?
What would you show them? Do you have 20 years of footage? Because I don't.
So,
Do we have old annual reports that we can look up, like what they did year to year to kind of culminate like certain?
We have binders with minutes that go back, I think, probably to the beginning. If
But
they're
what
not
about the
here,
pictures?
we can look. I don't know that we've got a ton. We've got some over more than recent years, but I don't know that I've seen anything from the early 2000s. I wasn't in this office until 2016. So I guess I can't speak to much of what was prior to that.
I think we could, if we had the minutes, we could tell a story somehow.
How we
But sometimes the minutes
community,
get
especially
very vague.
how we impacted the community.
They don't go into a whole lot of detail.
We can look at old annual reports, and I know some of those had detail, like the ones, I looked at the ones before, this was only a couple of years ago, but I know those had detail of what we had done, and then we have a list of who all have in the past won the like, Humanitarian of the Year award. That's actually listed on our website, or the city's website.
I also am sitting on committees with probably 3 or 4 of the original members of the HRC when it first started. So we could always talk to them.
Like maybe we could do an interview with them, I don't know.
Or pull people together and do some public service announcements. This is what it was like when we started and look at where we've come now.
So Jason, you just said the 3 magic words that I've been holding in my pocket for a long time, and that's public service announcements.
Yep.
We've talked about this with the group before, and I apologize if any of you have heard this before, but we've had so much transition on this group. One effort that was talked about, discussed, and seemed to gain some momentum until COVID hit was the drafting of public service announcements and then reading these public service announcements through Dakota Media Access, and then they incorporate it into their radio station, and it becomes, I don't want to call it filler, but it becomes filler between
Kind
programs.
of like announcements.
Exactly. And so if you listen to 102.5 FM now, you'll hear public service announcements for Katie Junkie from Public Health recorded one. It talks about the importance of supporting mothers with breastfeeding in the workplace. In other words, giving a mother a comfortable place to do the things that need to be done when they're nursing children. And it's a 30-second, just a voiceover. It's just a 30-second pitch, really, that talks about what employers can do to make their workplace more supportive for young mothers. The public service announcements for the HRC could talk about, hey, we've been here 20 years. Here's some of the things we've done. Here's the mission of the Human Relations Committee. Here's some of the projects we've worked on.
And the memberships.
Members, some of those kind of milestones that you might be able to pull from the minutes or from past annual reports and things like that. But the idea behind a public service announcement is just 30 seconds to tell your own story. And again, it's another way to raise awareness for somebody to say, I didn't know we had a Human Relations Committee. Within your PSA, you say we meet the 3rd Monday of every month at 5:15 at the City County Building. Our meetings are free and open to the public.
Except for the 2 first months.
Yeah, generally. And as staff, we can help craft these things. We wouldn't put that burden on you guys. But the opportunity for each of you would then be and we would help with this as well, schedule times with Dakota Media Access where their staff would record all of your voices reading the same public service announcements. But then if we've got 9 people saying the same thing again and again, they build that into their programming and it becomes this repetitive ad, basically. And for anybody that spent time in advertising, you'll know that generally people need to hear something 11 times before they remember it.
That's true.
And so you start to
Kind of like when you
become,
think of the elections.
it's just advertising. It's just good old fashioned advertising is what it is. But Dakota Media will record these things for free and then build them into their network of announcements and communications. And they do that because they're a partner with us as a political subdivision, as a government agency. So there's a way to kind of dovetail some of those things together. Great. If you get into the minutes and the histories of what went on here, and there's some significant projects there, we can figure out how to deal with that too. I guess I don't have any preconceived ideas. I just thought we don't want to miss an opportunity to talk about some of the good stuff that this group has done for the last 20 years. So
I have some preconceived ideas. The more we are able to get recognition, the more things we're able to do within our community. I'm done. I'm not doing summer school, and so my summer is open to do some of these extra things. I think we should move on it, within the next month or two at most, to try and get this secured. The radio ads sound pretty simple, getting each of us to stop into the place for a little bit, record it and go on. But we also can expand on that and do some stuff on public television, or how Sargiana and I had done a few things with local stations. It wasn't that difficult. And I think we could just build some momentum on this.
I don't have a problem going over to Dakota Media, but are they handicap accessible?
their new facility is, yes.
Okay.
And that was one of the major reasons they moved from their former location on 4th Street, because their recording studios were in the basement. And that was a problem because they didn't have an elevator.
Where are they at now?
They're next to the bistro on Front, between 10th and 11th Street on Front Avenue.
And then we could also do
Also,
PSAs
you
for
were-
upcoming events that we have, Jason.
Mhm.
That would be good.
And Dakota Media, I should say this on their behalf, what they will not do is they will not create the content. Okay, that's on you. That's on you and on us as staff to help with that. What they will do is they will record it, they will distribute it, they will edit it, they will do all of the technical stuff that goes along with the message that you want to get out. But they won't.
So then do
do
they
some
show
of the heavy
pictures
lifting.
of, say, like whoever's talking with that too then?
Not if it's on the radio, then it's just an announcement on the radio. It wouldn't necessarily be a video. It would, for the public service announcements, I would see that more as an audio recording, just a voice into a microphone, and then they use that potentially for years. The one with public health that I've heard Katie Jonke, I bet that's going on 3 years now that she recorded that, but the message is still current because there's always an emphasis to try and make employment, places of employment better for young mothers or staff or whatever the case might be. And that's just one example.
could we-
Public health recorded, they went down one day and I think they recorded like 18 public service announcements for public health in one day. They brought a bunch of their staff and they just work them through. However, Dakota Media has time for them, they just build them into their rotation. Jason, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, sorry. Could we come up with like 3 or 4 ideas? Would we need to run it through Gloria with communicate,
Gloria could be a resource in that regard. She is a very good writer and does a lot of writing on behalf of the city. So I would say, if you guys have some general ideas or some concepts that you want to touch on and get those to probably like an 85% completion, we could ask Gloria to come in and wordsmith it a little bit or help with, some of that finesse at the end. But again, that's not mandatory. That would just be another opportunity or another resource that we as staff could offer. And we could certainly show examples. I don't doubt that public health has all of theirs written out somewhere, and we could get those to you to kind of give you an idea of what other voices sound like with their messages. But ultimately, I think you gotta get it to 30 seconds or less so they can record it and plug it in like it's a
Well,
regular
you guys
commercial.
got pretty dang fast then.
No,
We're setting
necessarily.
shorter content.
yeah, they would help you through the process.
Yep, and we could rehearse and run a stopwatch and, figure all that stuff out here, so then we want it polished before anybody shows up at the GoToMedia Access, because they're professionals and they're ready to go, and if we tell them you're gonna be there at 2:00, we gotta be there at 1:55, because they're gonna be ready for you. So, but again, that's, as staff, we can help with these things, we just haven't had the time to dedicate to writing a public service announcement for the HRC, but I think collectively, there's enough ideas to just spitball this, and then we could start to, pull something together for you guys to be looking at your next couple of meetings. If that's a direction you guys are interested in going.
Definitely. On my vote is.
And how do we tie that back to the 20th anniversary of the Human Relations Committee? I guess I took us down a tangent when Jason suggested public service announcements, but that's something that I've been thinking about for a while to, again, raise awareness. So maybe we look at two types of public service announcements. One that's very timely, saying, hey, we're gonna be 20 years old in October. And then there's another one that is timeless, that is more about who the HRC is, what they do for the community, where you find them, the types of projects, that sort of thing.
What part of October?
Oh, we could pull the date. It was probably the end of October, just thinking about how the schedule of things often works. But if we just said October 2022, I think that's a big round number that's close enough.
What I thought could be cool if we do kind of the timely one is have some of those original members sit in with current members and be like, at this time in whenever it was 2002, we were able to do that, or hi, this is whoever, blah, blah, blah. This is what we were doing at this time when we first started. The second person, a current sitting member, introduces themselves and talks about what's coming up at the celebration or whatever, however we do that, to kind of pull people back in from the community who were a part of building this and start getting more recognition again.
Jason, have you, when you said that you're on the committee with some of them, have you thrown out any ideas if they would be willing to be involved in something like this?
Nope, I don't try and tell people about things just in case they don't happen. You know what I mean? It just, my mind spins. I think it was like Amy Ingersoll and like Cheryl. Oh, what is Cheryl's last name? Cheryl's now like the director at Sacred Pipe Resource Center. Amy was the director of the Women's Network. So a lot of these people went on to do amazing things in our community and our state, who started out in the Bismarck HRC, which I thought was really cool.
Is that Sharon Korsmo? Jason?
Yep, that sounds right.
She used to give the annual reports to the commission.
Okay.
Remember?
Just some ideas. I mean, but let's start simple. If we want to just start with doing a couple PSAs and get our feet wet, and then jump into some for creating this event that we're going to have in October, because I'm assuming you want us to roll into some kind of 20th celebration, right?
Or show video?
Or show a movie?
Yeah,
Is that
sure.
what you said?
You could, yes,
That would be cool.
you could do a cultural festival. I mean, you guys get to decide what you want to do. You could even just have cake. So,
Good cake and a movie,
cake and a movie.
Taking a movie.
the Heritage Center.
And the facilities.
Mhm.
People like cake in the theater, though. Not the end.
That'd be all.
God, it sounds better.
They won't let that in the theater.
Okay, so for the next meeting, as far as public service announcements, would it be helpful if I was able to pull some drafts together or get my hands on the language that was used for others, just to help get your wheels turning, and maybe you
That would
can
be good.
come with some suggestions or some kind of draft language for the group to kick around. Is that,
That would be
is
perfect.
that
I
reasonable?
have a face made for radio, so
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to participate.
Okay. I will talk with Renee Mock, the Director of Public Health, and see if she has any of that.
Oh, and she's had some experience with it.
Yep, they've done them, so, I will see what I can come up with, and if I can, I will get it to you prior to the next meeting with the idea that we'll add this as an agenda topic. Development of public service announcements, put that on as for the agenda. But I'll see if I can find some things to share with you all ahead of that meeting, and then if you guys have ideas and want to come with pencil and paper or send us, here's what I'm thinking ahead of time, great, we'll deal with all of that.
And we could also, talk to Main Street program on Prairie Public. And they'd, I'm sure, do a segment about it.
And that's what Sargiana and Jason Grenick had done. They had gone to KX and KFYR and got on their morning programs prior to,
Like the North Dakota today.
Yep.
I was on for today. Jason was on, where were you, Phil Parker?
KFYR, yeah, with Phil Parker.
Yep, Bill Parker.
And although we don't call him the mayor when he's on the radio, Mayor Steve Bakken has a radio program now on 1270, Super Talk 1270. He's on every day from 9 to 11, and it's called Talk of the Town. It's just that. It's whatever's current or topical, and he does a nice job of basically interviewing people to let them shine a light on whatever it is that's important to them. So there's lots of ways to get the message out. Okay,
Another idea is like on the back channel, they have like, my hometown.
The next item is, composed, diversity university. He's taking that.
got hosted events and partnered events. I'll just touch on this. So Band Night Parade, May 13th. Human Relations Committee is registered. You better get some people to walk in the parade.
It's a Friday too.
Yep.
Friday.
Friday the 13th.
What time is that? Does that start at 6:30?
I think it's 6:30, and then the parade, everybody gathers at the Capitol grounds, and there will be a position, you'll be given a number in the lineup, and there you go. So I believe we've got things to hand out along the parade route,
Oh,
banner.
where do I have them, like, if I took transit down there, where do I have them meet you guys so I can get,
I think we start up at the Capitol ground.
Yep, it starts and ends at the Capitol,
well,
so
where?
Oh, it starts and ends? I thought it ended at the Civic Center.
not anymore. Loops, it comes down 6th to Avenue A. It used to come down to Avenue A. This year it's gonna stop at Avenue C. So you come down 6th, you hit Avenue C, you head west for 2 blocks, and then you go back up 4th Street and you start and end at this Capitol grounds. So if you're looking for a transit spot, Trevor, it would probably be the west side of the Capitol where the legislators usually park. Probably the easiest way for transit to get in and out of there during parade assembly times.
They won't want me because security has this new thing at the Capitol. They only want us at that new entrance thing.
But yeah, you won't have to go in the Capitol itself, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but
everything gathers on the lawn out in front. So,
if I think
But I think they have the U-turn or where it goes, where you go up one side and down the other.
Yeah, the one lane. If you go around the mall, you'd want them to let you off up at the top end of the mall by the Capitol building itself. And then work your way down the sidewalk.
I guess I could just
Yeah.
walk with me wherever they drop me off at.
yeah, we'll figure something out.
I will be there as of now, my schedule's set.
So that's Friday, May 13th. Again, that'll be ahead of your next meeting. We're not gonna notice that as a quorum. I don't care if all 9 of you are there. We're still not gonna notice it as a special meeting because you do get exemptions for things like this, where you don't need to notice it as a special meeting. So
What do you mean by that?
Well, you can't have all of us, or you can't have a quorum of people meet, without declaring a special meeting. Unless there's extenuating circumstances like an event like the parade.
if you're there for a public function, it's different.
Otherwise, somebody else scream holy word.
So I guess that would be something that we will want to coordinate here is to,
So now are we all in that band or starting?
It's up to you. You want to participate in that?
Are you?
I'm participating with another group. I'll be there, but not in the HRC.
That was kind of my next question. If we put a call to action out to get people to walk with us, are we wanting, are we wanting just a small amount of people to walk with us? Are we wanting, I mean, like, if I can rally 100 people myself, are we?
the way I've seen it done in the past, a lot of elementary schools will have a presence in the parade. And what it appears to be is teachers, parents, kids, pets, family members, and just together as a group. If you have balloons, we'll have a banner.
Families?
Yep. I have seen the HRC participate in a parade a few years ago, and I will say it could have used a heck of a lot more people walking. It was a very small group, and it was kind of hard to differentiate them from the group in front and behind because it just kind of all melded together as one. So I would say the challenge, I don't know that 100 is necessary, but I really encourage you to hit at least a couple
But
dozen.
that's where the banner would come into play, I think.
Yep, because you walk with the banner out front and it recognizes who you are and what you're doing, and then everybody behind it can be identified as part of that group. Tia's got the banner.
Is the city participating?
We are, but we are doing it separately. We are participating because Saturday, May 14th is Bismarck's 150th anniversary. So we will be marching or walking or participating in the parade and handing out all sorts of things that help people recognize the fact that Bismarck's 150 years old the day after the parade. So yes, we will have two presences within the parade. We'll have the HRC, and then we'll have a separate group of people. We're hoping to get 25 plus people there as well. I don't know where we'll be lined up. It comes down to the parade organizers.
So are the city commissioners doing that too then? Or not?
It's open to them. They sure can if they want to.
And this is one where we walk, we won't have like a float, right? Like a
Unless you can build one
trailer.
in the next 3 weeks.
What she's thinking. Sure, Jason could put one together.
Yeah, hey Granick, you want to build a float in the next 2 weeks?
I got you covered. I told you I'm almost done with school.
I'm just trying to think like, for individuals walking the distance and so. No, I cannot build a float. I am not craft.
Could we get a classic car?
What would you do with it?
Put it there and put a banner on the side for the Bismarck HRC. And then people who would be getting tired or not could sit in there and wave at people.
You might do better with a pickup.
Okay.
We only have one banner. We could probably figure out a way
And then all
to.
of us can sit in the back of the pickup.
Some, not everybody, but some.
You can get magnetic banners for the sides of vehicles.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, really.
could. Or we got a plotter on third floor. We could just print one and tape it to the side of the vehicle for the 2 hours that it's going to be on display. Because we have the digital file to recreate this in any size or shape. So we could probably have something made here. The banner that was printed is vinyl and it's got grommets and all of that. So the idea was that you could hang it or tie it to a pole and then carry it, or kind of like you see the marching bands have their signs in the front.
Yeah, I think we definitely want a vehicle. That's just in case.
Are you planning to walk in the parade?
Like what?
Are you planning?
I think I'm out of town that weekend, actually. So it's depending on if I'm in town or not. Like Nicole said she was, right? She has a bunch of kids, bring all your kids with.
Kids and pets. but she would bring pets.
She should provide free Bruno's pizza, then she can get people there,
Yeah.
True.
since she owns Bruno's, so yeah.
Never been there.
And, the Capital Prize Summer 2022, that's not until June.
What is the registration for that? Do we know? Jason or Jason?
I haven't seen anything for it yet. Jason, do you know anything about?
I think we're already signed up, aren't we? I could have swore
PDF.
Whitney said we already were signed up for a booth. Yeah, thank you for being a friend. Hold on.
Pull it up. It's on the agenda here. Yep. January 5th, 2022. The letter says Dakota Outright is excited to host another year of Capital Pride events the weekend of June 17th through the 19th. We anticipate 500 or more people will attend. Here's the full schedule. If your business or organization interested in presenter sponsorship opportunity, please contact us to hear more.
Had we already became a sponsor? I thought,
It
or
says
did we not?
sponsorship allows us, so we must have.
With your generous support, we can make Bismarck Mandan a stronger and safer community for everyone. It may be that we just got this letter that says how to become a sponsor.
Okay.
This may be that,
What did we
Got it.
do last year?
is there a table sponsor? It was like $250 or something like that.
That
I
sounds
thought
right.
it was 250, yeah.
I know it was more than just a simple entry fee. There was a kind of a higher threshold.
If you scroll, it'll show what the 250 gets us.
A caring community sponsor takes sponsorship to the next level and receives additional benefits that furthers your access to Pride attendees. Level 1 benefits plus listing with a small ad in the Capital Pride Guide, which is free to attendees. Thank you, and a shout out during public or periodic announcements, and a boosted Facebook/Instagram with a thank you post with a link to your business or organization.
I don't know if we were that. I don't
Was
remember.
it friend of Capital Pride?
I think we might have been a friend.
That might have been it too. We can look back and see what was done last year, and then if the group prefers, we can do it that way
I don't
again.
think it's a bad thing to have the thing in the book and the thank you.
And anytime you can cross-pollinate with social media and
Yeah.
there are 3,000 people to know about the city's organization, I don't think that's a hard or a bad thing to have either, so.
I'll make a motion to just look at what we did before and follow through with that again.
Okay.
I would second that.
What if we only did the 100?
Do we have the money to do the 250, Jason?
Yeah,
I make a motion to do 250.
I second that.
All those in favor say
well,
aye.
hold on here. Procedurally, we've got a motion on the table to mimic what was done in 2021, so with the.
Oh, was there a second motion?
Yeah,
Go
so
up a level.
there, yeah,
possibly.
your comment was to do what was done last year, and then the group here said, you know, if we only did $100 last year, we could do 250 this year and get the added.
You can amend the motion.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
just-
I'll take a friendly amendment.
Okay,
And that's a friendly one, not just real friendly.
we'll let it be known that the motion is to participate as a caring community sponsor at the $250 level.
Yes.
Sufficient? Okay.
So that's Jason's motion is what we're saying,
Yep.
and I'll second.
I already did that.
We
Yep.
didn't do it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion
So, nope, I don't oppose.
Okay. Using the-
Youth engagement?
Can I pause 1 second before we move to that? Do we have leftover swag, or did we want to try and order any more? I can't remember.
I thought we had ordered new stuff.
I thought we did too.
Water bottles, stickers, what else did we,
We still have water
I thought it was
bottles,
like the sunglasses.
that was last time.
water bottles and stickers in the thing I have in my car.
Okay, and we've got more in the
We
cabinets here
went through
too.
a lot of lifesavers at the,
Yeah. They're lifesavers.
a huge
Really?
bit at the library.
Okay.
And then we have pens and chapstick too in the.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Whitney's back in the office on Wednesday. We can take a look. She's got a good pulse on the inventory and what we did last year, and she can pull up the finances and see what everything looks like. So if there are things that are running low, we can certainly take a look at that, but this is not until June, so this group will meet again in May. I think there's enough time between here and there that we can do a quick report on what you've got and what you can give away at the next one. So,
Sounds good.
okay. Okay, Mr. Chairman, now you can go into your youth engagement.
Any update there?
Student art show.
So was it the last time this group met or 2 times ago, we had talked about not getting any participation with the poetry and essay contest, and it was suggested that to try and engage students or youth in a different way, it was maybe to approach it from a different perspective or with a different project. And one of the suggestions was a student art show that would help, I suppose, celebrate culture and diversity of our community. And so it was just here for discussion. If anybody had any grand ideas or suggestions on how to move forward with something like this, I think if I remember right, we talked about kind of developing some of the details over the spring months and then trying to coordinate with Bismarck Public Schools faculty and staff to see if there's any interest in doing something in the fall or the winter of next school year. So it'd be the 2022-2023 school year, with hopes of maybe it's a spring art show or something like that a year from now. I guess I don't know.
How we could do, I think we discussed doing a variety of platforms, not just like art, but also you could do like theater if they record something, or TikTok or something like that. So I'm wondering if we also want to open it to different ages than we have currently too. Because right now, I believe our contest was only for, what was it, like 4th to 8th graders?
Yeah, it was a pretty small scope. So,
And if you're doing art and the more theatrical things or dance or whatever, I think the older kids would be more willing to do it then too.
I mean, and if we go as wide as like
I don't know how wide we want to do it.
4th to 12th, then I feel like
Break it up.
2 brackets, yeah, like 4th to 8th and 9th to 12. I think you're right, I think. Yeah, cause I think I could see elementary schools really getting involved, but it would look a lot different than the high schoolers getting involved. But yeah, I think opening it up would be a good idea.
Okay, we'll put that on the burner for the next. Municipal Equality Index rating. Any update there, Jason or Jason?
I don't have anything to offer. Do you?
No.
Jason?
No, I don't. Jason, do you want to get together on Tuesday, the 26th, or do you want to look in your calendar? Tuesdays, usually over the lunch hour, would be good for me. I don't know, and I can take my lunch like early or late, depending on you, and you can schedule it as a meeting. And we could get together and maybe just try and format really quick and get it sent to them and see what they come back with.
What time on the 26th? Because I'm wide open. I'll send you the calendar invite right now.
You want to do 11 a.m.
Okay,
at your office?
sure.
Perfect. I'll try and pull together some stuff then, and we can, since they haven't gotten back to us let's just go ahead and put together what we'd want to submit, and then we can pre-submit it. And that'll give us time then if they ever respond to tell us that we're wrong or that we could do this or that better. And then I'll also reach out to Brandy and just say, hey, you know, we've never heard back from anyone and we're hoping to get this done this year, you know.
I agree.
Okay,
Okay, I will send it to you shortly. I'll put a 30-minute notice on it in case you gotta get out of the office.
sounds good.
Okay, you should have it.
That's-
If I didn't
That's
put it-
all I got.
Okay,
Other business, any other business?
I'll just say that we had quite a few people paint rocks at the library event last month. A lot of engagement, people asking questions, stopping by, so I think it was a good event to be at.
Yeah, it was fun. One lady never did email me.
Oh, from the Department of Health, or was she Human Services?
Human Services.
I've run into the gentleman from the Department of Health, a couple,
We met the head of
the
the
top guy from the Department
Department
of
of
Health.
Health. We would have never known. He's just like, I work for the Department of Health. Then he asked him, well, what do you do for the Department of Health?
But he is the
was
Department
it?
of Health doctor, I can't think of his,
yes.
and so, but I've run into him a
He's so
couple of
nice.
times since then.
He's like, me and my wife will come to your meetings and listen.
But he remembered the HRC the last time I ran into him, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Really nice guy.
Any other business? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So
Second,
I will second.
all those in favor say aye.
I.
Motion is carried, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Jason.
See you
Feel
later.
better.
How is your son?